with an update on a lawsuit and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Addressing his prime logo being in the middle of the ring, Logan Paul said on his podcast, getting that center ring spot is interesting. It's more positive reviews, but I think the die-hard wrestling fans are really upset. It's never been done, and Vince McMahon was always really protective of the mat and not putting any brands on it, but in this new era, which it is, no matter how you cut it, TKO is a publicly traded company. They have to meet a bottom line. That spot was going to be sold. We saw an opportunity and potentially an opportunity to make people hate me even more because I am a heel. That's kind of the angle I took. F y'all, I'm going to stamp everything about this with me so you're reminded of just what my aim is, to take over. If we don't have this spot forever, who knows, it'll be somebody else. I promise if you're a die-hard WWE fan, you'll forget about it. It'll start to be standard practice, and I don't think it'll be as distracting as y'all think. During an interview with TV Insider, AEW President Tony Khan said this regarding the process to approving a dangerous spot in his promotion, such as Darby Allin going through glass at the Revolution event. It has to be something safe. Whenever a wrestler comes in and wants to try something especially dangerous, I just want to know that there is a safe way to do it. Darby Allin, every time he has ever had an idea for a wild, high sport, or a crazy move, he has had a rationale and plan. Darby doesn't take these things lightly. Nobody would have attempted the amount of crazy, wild, death-defying stunts Darby has done in his tenure and made it this far unless they are a methodical, organized planner. In Darby's case, he is fanatical about finding a way to pull off the impossible and do these incredible, seemingly death-defying stunts. He always finds a safe way to pull them off. He always has a rationale for why he is able to do it. That's what impresses me. The way Darby plans his matches and his biggest moves. Asked if he still wants to set Chris Jericho on fire after trying to do so in 2022, Eddie Kingston told Steve Fall, at least twice a day. Someone thinks about that. It runs through my head at least once while I'm like, man, I was really close to setting them on fire. Maybe the pay-per-view buys would have went up afterwards. Like, hey, did you see Chris Jericho get set on fire by Eddie Kingston? They're like, no. They're like, oh, I gotta order it. Explaining why he joined AEW over WWE, Will Ospreay said this on Talk is Jericho. Main thing was, I wanted to be in the UK. I know I'm not going to be exactly comfortable moving to another country. I moved to Japan in 2019. As much as I loved it, it wasn't home. I entered a new relationship with my new missus, who wrestles under the name Alex Windsor. I have a stepson now. She just started school. If you know her story and everything she's been through, the UK scene kind of knows it, but she lost her husband and having to pick herself up from that and having to be a mom, a single mom to losing her husband. It's going to have some tolls on you, so she needs to be around family and friends in her social circle. I couldn't bear the thought of moving her away from all of that and having her on her own again. For me, the main priority to stay in the UK, but also wanting to up the wrestling because I had done everything in New Japan, I completed it. The viable option was where was I happy and what was I doing? Every time I came to AEW, Tony Khan has given me nothing but trust and respect the moment I came in here. It was the right decision for me at this time. I'm happy here and looking forward to the challenges. It's the right decision. Yeah, of course, but it was night and day. Even differences of what they were offering and what AEW was offering, AEW was way better. The scheduling, everything about AEW was completely the right option for me. It was always, you can go be a superstar in WWE and famous, but it's not as good of pay and it's not as kind of a schedule. I respect everyone there doing it, but it's not for me. Going over plans for the WWE Hall of Fame, PW Insider reported that there is expected to be at least one more WWE Hall of Famer named for the class of 2024, and there's also been some rumblings that legacy inductees could return this year. Speaking about WWE being interested in Stardom wrestler Giulia, Bull Nakano, who will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, said this to Tokyo Sports. She should definitely go. The world will definitely expand. I think it will broaden her horizons as a wrestler if you see that there are different types of pro wrestling. If WWE wants to see her active in Japan, I think they'll use her in a good way. On her Power Alphas podcast, Mandy Rose revealed a gift she received from a fan, saying, "I had a fan come up to me and gave me a diamond Cartier bracelet, and it's gorgeous. It's literally the one I wanted for a while because it matches the tennis bracelet you got me. I had to hold a long line, so it was like a quick conversation. I gave him a hug, and I was like, wow." Touching on former AEW Women's Champion Britt Baker possibly returning soon, Tony Khan said this to the SXSW panel. She was out injured for a while, and now that she's out and about, she could be coming back soon. You never know when she could return. It's one of those things we have up our sleeve, and it's always fun when you can do those. Giving more information on the lawsuit against WWE from a fan, Ringside News wrote, "It seems that the intensity of the explosions was overwhelming for one fan. In an attempt to capitalize on this, they sought legal action against WWE, but it appears their plan didn't unfold as anticipated. An update on the lawsuit sheds light on the situation. We previously reported that Marvin Jackson filed a lawsuit against WWE on January 12, 2023, before the District Court of Tarrant County, Texas, alleging that he lost hearing in his left ear while an invitee to WrestleMania 38 due to a pyrotechnics blast that occurred as a part of the WWE production. Jackson's lawsuit requested a jury trial and was seeking monetary relief of more than $1 million, including damages of any kind, penalties, costs, expenses, prejudgment interest, and attorney fees. The lawsuit was eventually thrown out by the court. According to PW Insider, it was reported that the lawsuit filed by Marvin Jackson against WWE over alleged injuries sustained while attending WrestleMania 38 in Dallas has been ordered back to arbitration. On March 8th, the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit upheld a previous decision by the District Court of Tarrant County, Texas. This decision supported WWE's argument that any issues arising from Jackson's claims would have to be resolved through arbitration. This ruling was based on an agreement Jackson entered into when using the ticket to WrestleMania 38, which was purchased by a relative. We will keep you updated on this ongoing lawsuit. Taking to Instagram, Luke Gallows paid tribute to his grandmother, who recently passed away, as he wrote, "Yesterday we laid to rest the most selfless woman that I will ever know in my hometown, Cumberland, Maryland. Grandma Barbie was the matriarch of our family, a businesswoman, leader, and friend to anyone that she ever met. Rest well, Angel. See you on the other side with a glass of red." During the NXT show this week, a photo was posted by Fade Away Media on X that shows CM Punk in the building. In some unfortunate news, a pro wrestler, Rey Destroyer, passed away at the age of 22, as Ringside News wrote that Lucha Blog has reported the unfortunate passing of Destroyer, who collapsed in the ring during a March 2nd Riot Lucha Libre event in Monterrey, Mexico. Destroyer, along with his brother Black Spider Jr., was participating in a tag team match at the time. According to Spider Jr., Destroyer executed a head scissors move on one of their opponents earlier in the match, but collapsed upon attempting to rise afterward. He was subsequently hospitalized with severe brain damage and remained in critical condition until his passing on March 12th. Family members of Destroyer alleged that Riot officials failed to adequately care for him following the incident and also expressed grievances about unpaid wages for the brothers. Riot, however, asserts that their priority was ensuring Destroyer's well-being, promptly transferring him to the hospital on a stretcher. They claim to have remained in communication with Destroyer's mother and intend to cover his medical expenses. Lucha Blog received footage of the head scissors incident from Riot, which suggests that Destroyer did not land directly on his head, but rather harshly on his shoulder and back. Riot maintains that there was no specific moment during the match where Destroyer appeared to sustain a severe head injury. Upon learning of Destroyer's passing, L.A. Park issued a statement regarding his heartfelt condolences. "I have just been informed of the unfortunate passing of our fellow King Destroyer. My deepest condolences. I share in the sorrow and pain that envelops the family. What terrible news to start the day. Rest in peace, King Destroyer." Reacting to John Cena nearly being nude and presenting an award at the Oscars, Booker T noted on his Hall of Fame podcast, "That was risky, but it just goes to show you how far we have come and how far John is willing to go to entertain. That's all it is. That's a wrestler doing something like that. Wrestlers gonna put themselves out there, good ones, really, really good ones. They're gonna try to figure out how I can embarrass myself to the utmost to entertain somebody. That's just the way we do it." Bringing up that Sting wanted him to be at his retirement match at AEW Revolution, Kevin Nash said this on his Click This podcast. "For some reason, people think that Paul, Triple H, told me I couldn't go, and my thing was I'm a WWE guy. When this thing first came out, it came to fruition. I got contacted by Sting. He was telling me what he wanted to do, and then in that same breath, he said, 'What can you do physicality-wise?' So if anybody wants to know why Kevin Nash was at home, that's why. He asked me what I can do physicality-wise. I could have gone. I didn't go because I didn't want to go. I don't want to sit in an arena with 18,000 wrestling fans. I don't care if it's the Sting seating area. I've still got to get in and out of the building. It's like I don't want to go. Nobody's coming to see me at Sting's retirement match. Therefore, I don't need to be there. Number one, I'm going to be in the ring with the Young Bucks. They're both athletic, and I'm in pretty damn good shape. I mean, there's no way if I'm getting involved, I'm not power bombing those two effers. I'm going to powerbomb them both, and now whose night is it? Why am I doing anything? Why am I powerbombing two guys he's going to beat later? Why am I being involved? Now, guess what? You take all that out of the equation if I'm sitting on my couch in Florida. So there we go. It had nothing to do with Triple H. It had nothing to do with me being a WWE guy. It had everything to do with that I know what's right for me. I know what's right for the match. I know what's right for the evening. In my opinion, I did exactly what I thought was right, which was stay at home. Taking to Instagram, Ronda Rousey wrote this regarding her biography. After almost 2 years of work, seeing our fight in hardcover for the first time is hard to describe. Seeing the work of Evil Photo just takes it to another level, so I'm calling on all UK people. Signed copies of our fight are hitting the shelves at Waterstones. Grab yourself a copy here. Link in bio and in my story. Recalling who came up with his Ezekial character in WWE, Elijah, formerly known as Elias, noted during a Q&A session at For the Love of Wrestling, "Yeah, that was a complete Vince McMahon idea. What had happened was there was a period of time here where the boss really got into Elias and he said, 'I want to make you the next guy.' So he took the guitar away for a little while and we said, 'All right, we're coming back. We're going to get a new look, new gear.' As I did that, he was like, 'Hey, let's just go the whole way with it. Let's clean up the hair. Let's shave the beard. We'll give a whole new presentation.' When I did that, it was like, oh, this is a whole different person. So you're going to be a different person." It's like, okay, gotcha, boss. What are you thinking? Your own younger brother. You can imagine how I'm taking this as I'm hearing it. So it was his idea. He was very excited about it. When the boss is excited, you're going to be excited. You're going to be excited because it seems like some fun things could go down. My whole thing with wrestling and WWE is like, I'm always going to make the best of whatever situation I'm put in and hope the opportunities come and flow from that. So once the boss says, okay, we're going to be Zeke, you're going to be that, you got it, boss. Now, as soon as I get out there and show you what I can do with this, I want more opportunities to come. But that's just kind of the attitude I took. Whatever you throw at me, I'm going to try and make the best of it. Talk about the inclusion of The Rock in the Bloodline. Jey Uso had this to say on the Battleground podcast. "We the ones, we the Bloodline. Whether we're separated or not, we're just that good now and people need to step up. We're going to keep running it and we're going to keep adding more. The Bloodline runs deep. We're going to keep doing it. The Bloodline brought the drama, brought the theatrics, brought the cinema. I feel like your boy was the heart of the Bloodline. They can add The Rock. They can add them all. It isn't going to be the Bloodline until Jey Uso is back." Reiterating his position to not pursue a championship in AEW, Bryan Danielson said this at the SXSW 2024 panel. "I don't use the R word, retirement. I already had to do that once and I don't want to do it again. I want to leave it open to be able to wrestle when I'm 75 if I so choose." When it came to AEW, CM Punk had just debuted several weeks before and he had talked about wanting to help the younger talent. All that kind of stuff, and I watched his interview and I was like, that's what I was going to say. So then, when they asked me about it, "What's your goals here in AEW?" I was like, I'm going to come in here and kick everybody's heads in. I don't care about pushing younger guys to the top, all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to stomp them in the face and show them that I'm the best. But that's actually not the reality as somebody who's 42 years old and who has 2 kids. One of the things that I loved about AEW and just the idea of it is just that it made the pro wrestling industry healthier. And so when I look at that, how do I make this industry that I've loved since I was a child, how do I make it healthier? And the idea is to pass on the stardom that I've been given to try to pass that on to the younger wrestlers. I've had some people ask me or say things to me like, "Oh, Brian, you should be champion," or "You should have been champion," or "You should have this," or "You should have that." And the reality is, to me, the champions that we've had have been great. Hangman Adam Page was a great champion. MJF was a great champion. And it elevated these younger people to where now these people are stars, and you put Hangman on TV now and he draws a rating. You put MJF on TV, he draws a rating. It would be easy to just take stars of the past and make them your champion and make them your top guy. That's the easy way. It's much harder to take somebody like MJF, who hadn't been on national television, and turn him into a star that draws ratings. That was my bigger goal, is to transfer stardom from one generation to another. Bringing up WWE considering a new start time for upcoming events, Ringside News wrote that the start time for both WrestleMania 40 and Money in the Bank 2024 are scheduled to start a different time. According to PWInsiderElite.com, WWE is currently exploring the possibility of moving domestic premium live events to the earlier start time on 7 p.m. Eastern, reminiscent of a practice employed by the company in previous years. While discussions regarding this potential change are ongoing, no final decision has been made as of yet. WWE is treating this as an experimental process, carefully evaluating the feasibility and potential benefits of transitioning to an earlier start time for its premium live events. Asked if he will be at WrestleMania 40, John Cena told the Drew Barrymore show, "I'm kind of waiting for my invite. Unfortunately, it's like I don't have a prom date, so I have no one to go to prom with. I haven't been asked to go yet. That's okay. That's alright. I have not yet found a golden ticket in my chocolate bar, so I guess I have to keep eating chocolate bars to find a golden ticket." Mentioning how this will likely be his last year with AEW and as a pro wrestling commentator, Jim Ross said on his Grilling JR podcast, "I think so. It's realistic to think that. I'm 72 years old, I feel good, I get healthier every day, which is great. But I have to think realistically, this could be my last year and more than likely will. It's to be determined. That's between me, my health, and Tony Khan. Right now, it's a good plan because I'm essentially working, as I understand, pay-per-views only. That's where you'll find me as the plan goes as we speak. As we know, in pro wrestling, things change and could be different, but I don't think so with this occasion. I think it's what I'll be doing, and that's fine with me. I get to go to big shows, call big matches on big shows. Tony Khan has a good feel for what he'd like me to do and my skill set. Right now, my situation is I'm going to be married to the pay-per-views. That's good. Maybe it'll help the buy rates a bit. Storytelling will be a little sounder and different." And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.